welcome to the stage Halkirk.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're delighted to be here in Inverness today, competing in the National Senior Speechmaking Final. It's a few years since Halkirk's competed, so it really is great to see. Now, Halkirk Young Farmers is probably better known for success in the Country Cooks competition, but unfortunately, this year our teams failed to qualify. And I have a sneaky suspicion that this is directly related to the increase in the size of the ready meal section at our local Tesco's. This is why my team from Halkirk Young Farmers today has chosen to debate the topic that supermarket ready meals should be banned. Today, proposing this motion is Mr. Andrew Sinclair.
Good morning.
Opposing this motion is Miss Morven Mackenzie.
Good morning.
And on my far left, our arbiter for today is Miss Terry McGovern, who I will introduce a little more fully later on.
Good morning.
Now, Andrew is 16 years old and an electrical engineer apprentice at Rolls-Royce. Andrew is a really keen young farmer member, and he takes part in lots of competitions. Unfortunately, he was actually one of the members of our cooking teams that was unsuccessful this year. But he is adamant that he is actually a professional chef and he has never eaten a ready meal, and he was just really unlucky when his electric oven broke down. Now, I don't know about you, but if he's an electrical engineer apprentice, surely this shouldn't have been an issue either. Now, Morven is an ambulance technician and our club secretary. She also competes to a really high level at equestrian, and she travels around Scotland doing this all the time. So she has no time for cooking meals. So this is why she's opposing the motion. If you need to catch Morven, you head for the Tesco ready meal aisle at either 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. when she comes off shift, meaning she's in favour of the ready meals. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Sinclair, who will be proposing the motion that supermarket ready meals should be banned. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that within a week we consume a credit card worth of microplastics? And this is mainly down to things such as ready meals and other single-use plastics. These are a huge issue to our society. Just to give you an idea of how easy it is to replace ready meals, last week I spent my Sunday night making crepes and overnight oats and things such as this for my busy mornings. And no, I might not be the best at country cooks, but I can certainly do that, and so can everyone else. It requires little effort, and it's also a lot healthier than picking up a ready meal. Another point is that if you don't know the ingredients on the packet, then should you really be buying it? If you can't buy these things on your supermarket shelves anyway, should you really be putting it into your body? I think not. Another factor is cost, and this is a huge cost in modern society for us all. I think that if you're going to the supermarket and you're picking up I don't know, whether it be a lasagna or something like this, it's a lot more expensive than if you went home and made lasagna for the next 3 nights. I think that the cost pretty much evens out between maybe 1 night of ready meal and maybe 4 nights of food that you make at home. The costs are a big difference, and you're also paying for the Tupperware it comes in, which is completely pointless when you can replace it with something like glass. Glass boxes that you put your food in don't have any microplastics in them, so it's a great idea to add these into your diet instead. Another point is the nutritional value, which is similar to my last point, but there are a lot of hidden sugars in these foods. For example, something like Tic Tacs, something as simple as Tic Tacs, if you look at the packet, it'll say no added sugar. That's because the regulations specify that you've got to have less than half a gram in your single portion. So if they count a single portion as a Tic Tac and they've only got half a gram of sugar, they can say it's got no added sugar, when half the Tic Tac is still, for goodness sake, sugar. So, That is why I believe that the nutritional value is also a big impact. And even Morven, with her busy schedule between young farmers and being an ambulance technician, will certainly have time to meal prep. It didn't take me long at all on my Sunday night to do so, and it wouldn't take Morven too long either. There's always a little bit of time for you to make some nice homemade food. It's a lot more rewarding than just picking something up off your supermarket shelf. And as I mentioned, single-use plastics are a huge problem. They're bad for us, and they're bad for the environment. They're easily replaced, so why don't we all just do it? These meals should definitely be banned from supermarkets. There was a study made about burgers, supermarket burgers, rustlers burgers, lasting months on end. So should you really be eating food that is less biodegradable than the packaging it comes in? I certainly think not. In a world of an obesity and a cost of living crisis, it's simply not sustainable anymore to eat ready meals from supermarkets. And that is why I firmly believe that supermarket ready meals should be banned from our shelves.
Thank you, Andrew. Some really strong arguments there. Now it's over to you, Morven, to oppose the motion that supermarket ready meals should be banned. Morven.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, supermarket ready meals should not be banned. Ready meals, in my opinion, are a great thing. After I do a 12-hour shift, the last thing I want to do is go and slave over a pan making a meal. Even during my shift, I can just nip to Tesco, 3 minutes in the microwave, ping, and I've got a meal. There, ready to go. I don't have to go out and buy all the ingredients. It's simple, it's solution. And also, not every ready meal is a Rustler burger nowadays. The price of ingredients are going up and up, as we know in the cost of living crisis. By the time you take in your time, the cost of ingredients, and just the overall making sure that you don't burn it as well. A ready meal is a perfect solution to this. How can you burn a ready meal? Well, I'm sure Andrew might try and give it a go. Ladies and gentlemen, times have changed. A lot of ready meals now have resorted to low calorie. They're using now cardboard packaging, so they are recyclable. They are changing with the times, and they're not the traditional ready meals that they once were. They also are making sure that you are getting a good nutritional value throughout this, and can be easily prepared in the microwave. Also, you have to take into consideration the people that may not know how to cook, that may not have these skills, and may not have never had the pleasure of competing in a country cooks competition. These people might not know how to do this. So the ready meals is a perfect solution to them, to getting a good solution of good nutritional meal and easily and in a good time as well. And able to fill their bellies. As we're seeing, a lot of supermarkets now are committed to using British meat. And so we know that the meat that are even in these ready meals is Britain. It is local and it is produced in this country, from the vegetables to even the meat as well. Ladies and gentlemen, do we not see this as a good thing? Ready meals have changed. And I'm pretty sure we actually seen Andrew scoffing a ready meal the other night at a speech-making practice, so completely going against the grain. Thank you.
Thank you, Morven, for those great points. Now, Andrew, has this inspired a short reply from yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It certainly has, and I would just like to take issue with some of the points that Morven raised during her speech. Morven said that the last thing she wants to do at the end of her shift is start to slave over the cooker. And I think that is an incredibly fair point, and it's why I'd suggest to make food at the start of the week, or even during your shift if you have that enough time to go to Tesco's. And also, Morven talks about how the price of ingredients has gone up, and so too has the price of ready meals. I think they're both proportional, so it makes little difference. Morven talked about how a lot of ready meals have resorted to using using paper instead of plastic to cut down such waste. But for example, something like pot noodles, where you can get a paper cup of a pot noodle, they've still got a plastic lining in them so that the boiling water doesn't go through the paper. And this can also add microplastics into your meals. So I think that when people say they use paper, they might also be using a little bit of plastic, because this is certainly the case in a lot of times. And my final point is that Morven said that not everyone is a star baker or a star chef. Well, my suggestion to Morven would be ask William Campbell all about it, because he certainly is the bee's knees at the country cooks. So I'm sure he has plenty of pointers for Morven. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a bit of time for debate between my two speakers, in which they will remain seated throughout. To kick off the debate, I'm going to throw to you, Morven, that Andrew raised a point about not knowing the nutritional value of everything that's in a ready meal. And what's your thoughts on this? Are you quite happy to eat stuff you don't know about?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays they are cutting down on making sure that you know exactly what's in your meals, how many servings, how many calories. This has got to be detailed. Even in restaurants, they're having to put calories. Everything, you should know what is going into your ready meals. It's all detailed on the back of the packaging, so you know exactly what's going into it and you're consuming.
Andrew?
Well, Morven, I'd have to disagree with you there, because I think that it's impossible to know everything that's there unless you've got advanced higher chemistry or studied it at uni. These things aren't used in everyday life, and I think that the younger generation, when they're buying something from the supermarket just for easiness or for efficiency, I think, well, my mum, she sent me an article the other day about how young people have an increased risk of bowel cancer from some of the things that they pick up from the supermarket shelves. And I think that we need to move away from that way of living, and we can only do so if we ban things such as ready meals.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, we see nowadays there's so many risks for everything. All these scaremongering topics, such as young people might get this, young people might get that. It is just not true. It's certainly clickbait that Andrew's been fallen for and fallen into that trap. And we do know what we're falling into. These ingredients that we can buy and even produce from scratch may also contain these things. There's so many risks in life, and I think this is a very, very small one.
Andrew, are you maybe a wee bit too influenced by what your mum's sending you?
No. No, absolutely not. I take everything with a pinch of salt, I suppose, because Mum hates me to be eating any of that. But I think, especially when she's offering me a bowl of soup as soon as I come home from college and things such as this. And I think it's a similar case for Morven as well. I'm simply not having that ready meals are a suitable alternative when there's a whole Instagram page dedicated to her mum's soup.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our debate for today. I will now pass you over to our arbiter, Ms. Terry McGovern. Now, Terry is a business admin apprentice at the Gowes Group, which means she was the natural choice today to take care of the business end of proceedings. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Terry McGovern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stepped on stage this morning and heard my team embrace the topic, supermarket ready meals should be banned, I knew that the subject was bound to produce an interesting debate for us all. To begin, our proposer, Andrew, was eager to share his thoughts. Firstly, he mentioned that ready meals contain lots of harmful microplastics and foreign ingredients, which can be detrimental to our health. Next, he exclaimed that homemade meals are considerably cheaper than ready meals. Following this, our opposer, Morven, was given the opportunity to share her side of the argument. To begin, she suggested that ready meals are extremely convenient, particularly for key workers such as herself who do not have time to make homemade meals. Next, she noted that whilst traditionally ready meals may have been unhealthy, they have changed with the times and are now much healthier and eco-friendly. In his response, Andrew was adamant that meal prepping is a great alternative for busy individuals who do not have time to cook every night. When we reached the time for debate, it was clear to see that neither of our speakers were sitting on the fence. Morven mentioned that new regulations have been implemented to ensure you know exactly what is in your food. Andrew argued that studies have proven that supermarket meals can lead to poor health and even types of cancer. Both our speakers this morning provided some exceptional points of debate. However, I believe that with their unwavering persuasion of the fact that ready meals contain lots of harmful ingredients, that Andrew had the most compelling argument. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry, for summing that up so wonderfully. So, on behalf of our team, thank you for listening to us today. I'm sure to be going and checking in with Andrew's mother after this to make sure that he can actually cook. So thank you very much on behalf of Halkirk Young Farmers.